Announcement, apparently here in our town, recently, 27 cats were rescued from a deplorable environment. They were all taken by the county SPCA. They're all going to be rehabbed. Hopefully they will all survive. It's questionable whether they all will. They were really in terrible shape. But anyway, once they are rehabbed, they're going to need homes. So, if anybody is interested at all in getting a kitty, now would be a very good time. The SPCA number in Kingston is 331-5388. And again, this happens from time to time. This is, I think, one of the more dramatic instances of an occurrence of this sort. It's terrible that it has to occur in our town.
Was that in Woodstock?
Yeah, apparently.
Glasgow Town Park.
So, anyway, again, that number is 331-5388. And if anybody wants to make a donation to the SPCA, if you've got cleaning supplies, if you've got litter, if you've got food, toys, cages, and crates, the SPCA would be very, very happy to receive these donations. That's that. This next topic, I just would like to, yes, if I may, this is a topic announcement. To remind everybody that the town of Woodstock a couple of years ago did join the Ulster County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. And there were a couple of public presentations of this, however, not in the last, it's been more than a year now. There is a list of 21 areas of the town that have been identified by the community as areas that are not only potential hazards during flooding events, but which actually might have some solutions toward addressing them. The purpose of this exercise is that were we to have another severe weather event, and were these areas to be affected, and were there damages incurred, and if a state of emergency is declared by the governor or the president, we would be potentially in line for FEMA funding to repair or upgrade or whatever it is, replace in some cases, culverts, bridges, stream embankment protections, etc., things like that. So again, this list of 21 areas is on our website. If anybody feels that it is not a complete list, I encourage you to write to me, supervisor@southernwy.org. Be as specific as you can about the potential danger. And if you feel, if you have an opinion as to whether or not it is something that could be remedied. Now, of course, your solution and what is ultimately done might be two different things, but anyway, the idea is to focus attention on the particular area that you're talking about, and maybe this list will be expanded. And again, the idea is that if these things are not on this list, and we have a storm and stuff happens, then it won't necessarily be funded by FEMA. So that's that. That's what that is.
Can I just add a
Yes.
little addendum with
Yes.
the theme of floodplain maps? This is another project we've been working on for about 2, maybe 3 years now. FEMA has updated all the floodplain maps for Ulster County, and at some point we have to adopt these maps and adopt a new part of the flood laws, our local law, to formalize it. But every 6 months I send away to Albany and say, what's the status? And they say, oh, another 6 months, another 6 months. Well, if you looked at the Woodstock Times a couple of weeks ago, they noticed that Shandaken was challenging some of the maps. And until all the challenges are done within Ulster County, nothing's going to happen because they'll all be adopted at once. So.
Well, that's good. Keep challenging them.
Huh? Well, they're really into it. I mean, they're, when they talk about flooding, they understand flooding.
Yeah, they sure do.
We sort of have a theoretical view of it.
Right.
They have a, feet wet view.
Yeah, they sure do.
So they're taking a very close look at it, and they've challenged some of the maps, and until all those challenges are completed, none of the maps, in fact, the entire Ulster County set of maps will not be adopted.
Okay.
So who knows that, it's always 6 months away, 6 months away, 6 months away, so I'll check again in 6 months and give you an update.
Okay.
But, it's still active, we're still working on it. Well, I shouldn't say we're working on it, we're still still on a particular file,
Mhm.
to check it out every once in a while.
Thank you. Dan. Did you want?
Yeah. I'd like to say a word about the anniversary that we all were aware of last week about the atrocious atomic bombing of Japan. I feel particularly in a place to be able to say this because I was one of the people who ostensibly life was saved because they dropped the bomb. And I have a list of people, names that you probably recognize, who spoke out at the time against the necessity of dropping the bombs in Japan. And there's an ex-president on the list, there's some scientists, some people from State Department, but I will only mention military people who said, do not drop the bomb. Starts with General Dwight D. Eisenhower, Admiral William P. Leahy, Admiral Chester W. Nimitz, Admiral William F. Halsey, Admiral Lewis Strauss, Admiral Frank Wagner, General Douglas MacArthur, General Henry Hap Arnold, General Carl Spaatz, General Curtis LeMay, and a name undoubtedly unfamiliar to everybody, General Carter Clark, who was in charge of intercepted Japanese cables that went to Truman. And just a few words from him. He said, when we knew we didn't need to do it, we used the Japanese as an experiment for 2 atomic bombs. And I know that there are very few people in this country, in this town, who would celebrate that horrible thing that we did. We were, all of us, involved with it. But I personally take it as, at the very least, a shame that this country did what we did to those civilians, not even military targets. And just one thing more on an up-to-date issue, and this is very personal. I've come to detest Senator Schumer for his position on the Iran talks. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Shall we do our business?
Yeah.
Whereas Woodstock, New York has a long tradition of artistic, literary, and activist expression by women, and New York State is considered the cradle of the women's rights movement in the United States. And whereas 2017 is the centennial observance of the 1917 victory of women winning voting rights in New York State, and whereas 2020 is the national centennial observance of the ratification of the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution that guarantees American women the right to vote, and whereas local exhibits, programs, events, and celebrations pertaining to women and their campaigns for equal rights contribute to the local economic development through sustainable cultural heritage tourism, and affirm the community's commitment to equality that is part of our town history and heritage. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Woodstock, New York, prepare for the state 2017 and national 2020 women's suffrage centennial celebrations, encouraging individuals and businesses, arts, culture, and governmental service, and political organizations and groups to plan and coordinate events pertaining to women and their accomplishments to be held during the years 2017 and from now through 2020. In addition to participating in regional and statewide network promoting such initiatives, including the New York State Path Through History Tourism Network.
Second.
I'll
For
second.
the purpose of discussion,
Without Bill here, we don't know what to do.
He's like right on it.
I I fully support this. I think that we need to add some language that I'm going to suggest.
Could I just, before you do that, I just want to introduce Tingra Klein, as she's the one who proposed this resolution to the town board, and I thank you.
Ah.
It is an important observance.
Thank you.
And so I'm hoping, with your indulgence, that we can invite her into this discussion. Go ahead.
Absolutely. On the second page, whereas local exhibits, programs, blah, 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 pertaining to women and the campaigns for equal rights contribute to local economic development. That sounds like it was written by a real estate developer. I would like to suggest that in that paragraph, and their campaigns for equal rights contribute to our overall happiness, our raised spirits and morale,
That's right.
and our powerful desire for greater freedom and opportunities for all people, as well as improving local economic blah, blah, blah.
This is in writing?
Yeah.
No, okay.
Let's see.
Anything else?
No.
That's it? Do you have any proposed?
Amendments? No, although I'm all in favor of this and think they're fabulous, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Do you have any kind?
Oh, well, yeah, I'd like to just say a few things. First of all, August 26th is Women's Equality Day, so we're very timely. This August 26th is the 95th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, which guaranteed women the right to vote. August 26, 2020 will be the 100th anniversary, and women won the right to vote in New York in 2017. So the goal of the Women's Suffrage Centennial's resolution is to have programs and exhibits all over town by as many groups as possible to study and honor the achievements of Woodstock women, especially those who are active in their field at the time of the women's suffrage movement from 1848 to 1920. This is not meant to exclude any women from an earlier or later time. One example of a Woodstock woman to honor is Charlotte Perkins Gilman, the feminist writer who spent summers in Birdcliff. Gilman is part of a bigger picture that includes many Woodstock women of the day about whom we have heard very little over the years. Who was Jane Bird McCall, aside from being Ralph Whitehead's wife? Who was Vivian Bevins, the artist who married Hervey White? Who was Lucy Brown? Surely these women deserve more than a sentence or two in the history books. Who were all the women artists, dancers, and musicians who honed their craft at the Maverick, Birdcliff, and all over town? The field of worthy women expands to many about whom even less or nothing is known. It's time to study the women of Woodstock and learn about our foremothers. Contemporary women are worthy subjects as well. We want to study and honor the women of Woodstock. This resolution serves to encourage a townwide celebration of the achievements of the women of Woodstock in concert with statewide celebrations in 2017 and national celebrations in 2020. The possibilities are limitless. Woodstock celebrations would start now and continue through 2020 and further if the movement to honor women catches on.
Thank you.
Do you have any comments on the proposed amendment to the resolution?
Well, it sounds fine to me. I mean, I haven't studied every word, but I don't mind cutting down on the economic development.
I think he was adding that to it, so it would continue on with what he said, and then to local economic development, where it was what he was doing, so
Yes.
kind of just like embellishing into it.
Yes.
And what I would add, though, is I think at the county level, there could be things. Susan and I know has been talking about this. So, not that we have to change the resolution, but just the point being that I think that it would be a good idea for us to be in tune with what the federal, national is being done, state is being done, and at the county level, because we may be able to tie in things closer to home.
Right.
So I do think, I think Susan and I have been talking about this at the county level, so I'm pretty excited to see what all unfolds, but it's great.
Right, yeah. Well, my interest is in getting the women their due, but I think the economic development angle would attract a lot of contributions and people who might not be as interested otherwise.
I think we might add, we could consider adding that a woman's dollar is still 78 cents. With all of this.
We'll wait till 2017. That's when we'll goose that up. Okay, so we'll first, I guess I'll second your proposed amendment. I remind everybody at the table that it's going to require a unanimous vote to adopt any resolutions here today. And I will call the question. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Great.
You did leave out just sort of one little shadow on all those things.
Okay.
What shadow?
You did leave out a little shadow on all this, otherwise.
Pardon me?
They said you left a little shadow out.
I did?
Yes. Well, it's not only the 95th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, it's also the 95th anniversary of the election of Warren G. Harding.
Oh, well, but he wasn't a woman.
Now, I know.
Well, he wasn't a woman.
No, he wasn't.
But let's see, oh, I did have something to give you, a few little perks. And anybody who cares to join in and have an exhibition or a program is welcome to all these lovely buttons. And
Thank you.
there is a website called suffragecentennials.com that has all the latest on what's happening. Sure. They're live with these things.
So I guess one question I would have is with Volunteers Day coming up, I don't know whether it's appropriate, I don't know, Tinker, whether you have an interest in having like a table, I don't know whether it's appropriate or whether you would be interested, but I wonder, spreading the word seems like a great idea, and we do have Volunteers Day coming up on Saturday. I just didn't know if there's any opportunity there to spread the word.
Sure, that sounds fine, a little table. And
If that's appropriate, I'm not sure who's.
I would talk to Tamara or Sam.
Tam.
Tamara's.
Okay, Tam. I think family's pretty much running the show this year.
Sam
Okay.
Retired.
sure.
You're sitting, I didn't.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, thank you. Okay, be it resolved to transfer appropriation line A09950.9 in the amount of $252,229 to the Nestle Hornbeck Capital Project effective immediately.
I'll second for discussion.
For what purpose?
Well, I understand the purpose, but what is this, what's the source?
This is, we appropriated this is in our operating budget.
So
It was
this,
a line that's called transfer to capital.
so this is part of the reserve, whatever reserve it was.
Well, this was intended, it's a transfer to capital, and it was intended to transfer this sum of money into the Nestle Hornbeck Capital Project.
It was in the budget, is what you're
It's in
saying.
the operating budget, correct?
But it was from the reserve accounts.
No,
No?
no, it was
This was
raised,
just-
it was raised by taxes and
Okay.
fund balance.
All right.
It was all part of the original budget. It's just that I've come to realize that we needed a formal resolution to make the transfer. But it's in the operating budget. It's on the very last page, it's the very last
Yeah,
operating
I
budget.
know where they are. I just-
Do you want to correct the spelling of the name?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to correct the spelling of her name?
Oh, you like
The
capital?
N has an N
If
or?
it has an N, yes, well, depend on the town clerk. And we'll capitalize the N as well, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
And I believe Jay seconded that, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Be it resolved to accept the resignation of Tom Unrath as chairman of the Woodstock Planning Board. We further resolve to thank Mr. Unrath for his good service as chair of the planning board and for his continued service to the town as active member of the planning board.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to appoint John Lavelle as planning board chairman for the remainder of the year 2015.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved to authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Grenier and Larios Engineering for engineering services for the McDaniel Road Bridge, estimated total for services $39,500.
Second.
All All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved to accept the resignation of Patrick Glass, cleaner, effective July 27, 2015. All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved to waive fees for a building permit for work to be performed at the Woodstock Historical Society building on the Como property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved to appoint the town supervisor and marriage officer for the year 2015. If you give me a second, I'll explain that.
I think that's going too far.
You want to move, Jackie?
Am I marriage officer?
Yeah.
No, I choose not to be. I suppose I could ask for special,
Anybody actually could be appointed marriage officer by resolution of the town board.
then I have to fight for justices.
Yes.
There are some town clerks that are marriage officers.
Yeah,
and
they're
a lot of-
appointed by the town
Right,
boards.
appointed by the town board, but I choose not to be.
Didn't you used to be?
Nope,
We do certificates. That's your.
I issue the marriage licenses,
Licenses,
yes.
yeah.
So, is there a second?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what this is, again, in all these other instances when I was appointed marriage officer by the town board, and there have been, I believe, 3 or 4 of these instances, they were all for very specific ceremonies of very old dear friends. I don't know why they think it's so wonderful to have me to,
I don't
perform
know either.
this for them, but they do. They claim anyway, it just means very much to them. So again, these are very, very old friends who are having a wedding, actually next week. And they asked me to do this, and so I said I would come to the town board and ask for their authorization, and so that's what I'm doing. If you have any more questions on that, I just want to say that I'm not going into the marriage business, and that this is it. I'm not, opening up for, putting a sign on the door, marriages are us.
They probably think that they can get out of it when they choose.
Yes, they do.
Actually, it's an honor to be asked to marry somebody, and I.
Well, yes, I
It's
felt.
from somebody that it really means a lot to.
Yes, that was my feeling. So, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Whereas U.S. Bridge Company with offices in Cambridge, boy, what's that?
Isn't that a conflict of interest for you to say
Ohio.
aye on that?
Say that?
Since you're the marriage officer,
There's
isn't,
no compensation. Do you think there's a conflict?
oh, no, I just wondered
If you have to
because
recuse
you're
yourself,
saying aye for yourself.
Yes.
yeah, but if
And
you,
there's some,
Well, I also say I wouldn't have votes to authorize me to sign things. For instance, this resolution right here, I'm seeking authorization to sign the document.
but if you had
it's a
to,
little different.
yeah, Iris, if you had to recuse himself, then you wouldn't have enough people for a quorum, and
But
then you.
that's not, that has nothing to do with it.
No, but then you go into, what if you go into, if you don't have enough for a quorum, then everybody who's there has to get involved, because you can't do the business of the town without a quorum. So if he were to recuse himself, he'd be under the number needed for a quorum, and then he'd have to be back.
Then the marriage would have to be canceled.
That's right, the marriage would be canceled.
See that? You're screwing everything up.
What do you mean?
Whereas U.S. Bridge, a company with offices in Cambridge, Ohio, provided steel for construction of the Erie Hill Bridge from 20 years ago. And whereas some of the steel components have not lived up to their expectations with regard to lasting utility, and whereas U.S. Steel has offered to replace the steel at cost and also provide at reduced cost the added engineering to design a new floor system to accommodate the precast deck system to be installed. And whereas it is the opinion of the highway superintendent after investigating the cost of steel and engineering for other projects in the county that this is the most economical approach to replacing the Erie Hill Bridge. Whereas it is in the interest of the residents of the town to repair the Erie Hill Bridge before the winter season, therefore be it resolved to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with U.S. Bridge for the undercarriage replacement of the Erie Hill Bridge.
Are they doing that for free?
There's nothing for
No,
free.
nothing's for free.
I mean, because it didn't
We
live
didn't
up
get
to
a second
spec.
here for a discussion.
Second.
Right, they did
Yes,
it,
thank you.
right?
Well, it didn't live up to spec, you're correct, but it did live for 20 years. So the warranties actually technically only extend for 1 year. Technically, they could have just told us to go without, it's our problem. It was, and I'll give, the company due. I mean, I did call them, I did complain, I said, this is, not 20 years, and we've got a bunch of this already falling apart. They immediately sent a representative out, they flew in from Ohio to here, met with the highway superintendent and myself, walked under that bridge, looked at all the defective, immediately fessed up to it, and made this offer to us.
Well, I hope they give you a good deal.
Well, I think that they have. And again, I know Mike has priced talked to, areas in the county where they recently installed bridges and the cost that they've incurred installing those
A
bridges.
little bit more money?
It's gonna be galvanized, where the old steel was a core 10, and the county has had like 40 bridges that they bought from the same people, and had the same problem. So, yeah.
That
You know,
sounds good.
Galvanized
At
instead
that point, it was an unproven
Material.
method of the material, right. It was supposed to rust and then stop rusting, and no maintenance. Well, with the moisture from the stream and the not being able to dry out because it's covered, no sun, it didn't stop rusting, basically, is the end result. So the county now is changing their bridge systems on those, pretty much exactly what we've done, and they've replaced it. So it's kind of a proven thing at this point, because they've done it before. And the one bridge that's been done down in Hurley there is completely galvanized. The trusses are okay, so there's no real reason to replace them.
All right. Jay, you have questions?
Yeah. This second whereas is not very specific. Some of the steel components have not lived up to.
Well, everything but the trusses. They're replacing everything except the trusses.
Okay, so that's a little more clear. And when it says had not lived up to their expectation with regard to lasting utility, I understood what you said, Mike, about continuing to rust. What were the expectations before this?
Well, I wasn't really only involved with settling it, but, even the Newburgh Beacon Bridge is made from the same steel, but it's farther away from the water. I don't know what the expectations was at the time. Like he said, the guarantee at that bridge still, at that time, was only 1 year. But the galvanization, it's not warranted by US Bridge, but warranted by the galvanizers, supposedly at 35 years. Again, in 35 years, one could check that out, but,
Yeah. Another question is, why, excuse me, why would a new deck have to be, suggested to be concrete panels rather than macadam that's there?
macadam will go on top of it, Jay. But the deck itself will be concrete. That's what we did on Chestnut Hill, the way the county has done it recently. In economics, I would say the ease of operation goes quickly, and we would pave a asphalt deck on top of it.
Does the Yerryville Bridge right now have concrete underneath?
No, it has galvanized, convoluted decking. And that has also had problems, and the county's had trouble with that specific design, with the decking breaking loose from the beam structure, which will now be remedied with the concrete, and it'll be fastened with grouting around anchoring studs, which is the way we did Chestnut Hill.
And I think just one last question. It looks like there's 77,000 worth of,
Total, yeah.
yeah.
That's the steel, and all the design and the engineering plans for the US, which would come, or for New York, which would come to our engineer, be scrutinized, and then the deck would be designed through those plans. So that all that engineering is all included in that. So anything that we would do over and above, that's all taken care of, would be only for the deck.
Okay, so then if I understand it, this money, what is it, 77, whatever it is, that takes care of everything except our labor.
It would be, would be bid out to be installed, and then get that put on, and ourselves, we will pay it ourselves.
Yeah,
But a contractor will be hired to remove the old decking and the beam structure and put it in.
and will the bridge be passable during this work?
No,
Okay.
No, because you basically have two trusses standing vertical. Everything below the deck is going to be all new. So it systematically has to be taken apart and then other pieces put together because, the structures are standing, but the beam structure underneath is holding them together.
How long are the present trusses good for?
That, again, it's made of the same stuff that the beams are made of. Those, right, but it sees sunlight and it dries out. Those beams are like the day we put them there 20 years ago.
Yeah, but the trusses do go down to the ground.
They go, yes, but they're also open to the air at that point, where that joint is, that's all open. It's not under the deck.
Got it. Got it.
So the truss itself is like the day we bolted it together.
But doesn't the truss go in through the water though? The truss doesn't go through the water?
No. It's all
It's all
suspended.
on top.
It's all suspended,
Gotcha.
but it's just that the understructure was constantly shaded from the deck and the moisture from the water.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I just want to be clear about something. If we adopt this resolution tonight, maybe as soon as next week, we'll be adopting a resolution to probably engage the services of Bernier and Larios to put together a bidding package for us.
Yeah.
Because the work, of course, will go out to bid. Because that's competitive. This is just the materials
Right.
and engineering. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Mike, just a quick question, how long will that take? Do you have any idea once that bridge is taken out of commission?
I don't know exactly, I do know the time schedule for the engineer, for them to send the plans here. Was a
6
couple
to 8
weeks.
weeks? Oh, probably.
Just
So
over
And
the
then
summer.
for him to review it once they receive it,
Oh, sure did.
5 to 6 weeks to get.
At that point, though, the bridge will be down?
No,
No. But once they take it down, because people are gonna ask, once that bridge is down, when do
At
they
that
think?
point, we'll have to, I'll find out.
Okay.
At this point, I can't estimate that, Jackie.
Okay.
When we put it together, it was all summer.
Right.
But
And a question I had, I see the installation expert is provided for 2 days. That doesn't seem like a lot of days.
no, what they have, probably what will happen at that point, we'll be advised by them how far back to take the old deck off.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then for them to come there, work with the contractor, as far as assembling the new deck, the new structure underneath. And then once 2 days are up, once they're shown exactly what the procedure is,
They just
it
follow
would just
it.
be repetitive back in the bays of the bridge,
Okay,
okay?
thanks.
Thank you, Michael. Good to see you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Gosh, the whole government is here except the judges.
Careful.
They hear that you're gonna become a marriage officer, they
Yeah,
don't get
right.
up here.
I'm still in. No, they've been very good about that. I've been looking for that, at least,
So when are we gonna complete the Upper Como parking
When
lot?
I get done black,
Not to put you on the spot.
no, when I get done blacktopping, which we're gaming on it, Jay. I know.
So I noticed our paver needed a little repair.
Yes, but we're making use of it, so,
No, good, great.
yeah.
Where are you paving now?
We're doing T&L on Erie Hill.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna finish that tomorrow, and then we're gonna do an oil chip over top of that. Try a little something different, see if we can stretch the dollars and get more done.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything else?
Do we have this public hearing on this stuff? Or was there still?
No, this is just an announcement and just to let people know that it's on the website and to, if they have anything they want to add to it.
Oh,
Well, let me ask you a couple of
Yes.
questions.
Mhm, sure.
Number 16, have we already done that?
Number 16. is, no, we haven't done that. We still have to dig under the road there and run from the main into we have the infrastructure inside the building ready to receive it, but we've never connected it to the main.
Right.
So,
Supposedly, if we had an emergency, we'd just dig it up and connect it.
yes, we just stop all traffic on 212 and dig.
Well, it actually doesn't go under the road, right? I mean, the main runs in front of the police station.
No, that's the Kingston main.
Wasn't that?
Oh, yes, you're right. Okay, got it. Yes, you're absolutely right. It was the Kingston main we were going to tap into.
Yeah.
Because we had that filtration plan all set up. Yes, you're right. Yeah. We don't have to go under the road.
Right, okay. Now, on this Mink Hollow hillside slope stabilization, was that the project we talked about a year ago with the soil and water, number 18?
No, this one's in, it's back in farther. The one you talked about was the one out on 212, right?
No, it was up on Mink Hollow. It was
Okay.
the city of Kingston water supply had logged
Yes.
all that area.
Yes, you're right, there's actually two, there's one below the Golden Bridge and there's one above
Yeah.
it. Right.
So
Yes.
which one is this?
It's the one below.
So it doesn't involve the Kingston water supply?
Yes, it does.
I mean, the Kingston water property itself?
Yes, it does. It still
Because
does.
what had happened is that, I guess DEP did a survey up there, and when they asked Kingston Water System for permission to go on the property, they turned it down. And when the people who did the people from BART who did the survey of all the properties for, Gretchen and that group.
Catskill? No.
Yeah, they were turned down for going on that property. So I don't know how we do anything with the city of Kingston water supply if you can't even get permission to go on that
Well,
property.
You know,
Well,
it's
in that
all,
case, we wouldn't be able to do anything, but if I were the Kingston water supply, I'm not sure that I'd want that stream so silted up, because that's right on top of their intake.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that's obvious to us.
Right, yes, I know, they're inscrutable, you're
It
right,
doesn't appear to make any dent on
Right.
what they're saying.
right. But that might all change in Kingston.
They're not making nothing.
You never know.
They're not making nothing.
So, one question and answer period is here. Has the CSAC best practices document going up on the website?
I think so, but I'm not certain. If it hasn't, I'll make sure it goes up tomorrow.
Because it's been okayed by WLC.
Yeah.
Oh, we got the word back from him? Yeah?
Yeah. In this specific case, or kind of case, they only need to inform us that they've received the information, rather than having to pass on it, vote on it, whatever. So we did get that letter from them, and that gives us the clearance to put it up. And just one other question. Are these meetings going out on YouTube, and if not, why? Or if not, when?
I'll have to ask Carrie, I don't know. I think they are, but I don't know.
Carrie?
Yeah, because she's the one that puts them.
People come up to me and say, how come I can't watch the template?
Yes.
Then I'll ask Carrie. You can do it.
Although I think, because I get the tape from Tom, and Friday the tapes go out, it's usually Ellen Coble who picks them up, so I do believe that at noon on
They're being
Saturdays,
replayed.
they're rebroadcast. So people are that anxious to see us.
That's it.
So your response to my question about what's up with enforcement was a little discouraging. It seemed a little unspecific.
Yes, I hope that that's going to be clarified very soon. And,
I'd like Charlie to come up next
Yes.
month
yeah.
and give us a little update of what's going on.
Good idea, yes.
Because once they have the contract signed, they need to go out and raise about $2.5 to $3 million.
Mhm.
And that answer they gave didn't seem like they really had that money in the bank yet.
Yes.
Plus, they gotta do a site plan, they gotta submit stuff to
Yeah,
central.
well,
I think there's a lot of activity that needs to be done, and it's a little disconcerting not to have any feel what's going on. I just might make another observation, not an announcement, I guess it is. This, our local citizens for local power, that are promoting this community choice aggregation, and they had put a proposal in, which was part of the Central Hudson rate case. They were asking for $800,000 to be spent over 30 months for consultants. And part of that rate case, there were 5 other proposals submitted. 4 of them were from Central Hudson, 1 of them which was from Solar City. So part of that rate case had 6 what they call red demonstration projects, things that would go above and beyond what the Central Hudson normally does. Unfortunately, the community choice aggregation project was not one of the selected projects. So I don't know what their next step is at this point, but it was not funded as part in this round of the rate case.
I wish them that. The next round, should we have one. Gee whiz, as long as we're just talking here, I just want to reiterate a subject that we've already discussed, and that's Airbnb. This summer has really been just, we have never had so many inconsiderate people come to our town as we have this summer. I don't know where they come from, and I don't know who's renting to them, but I just want to say to anybody in the town of Woodstock, if you're involved with Airbnb or any of these other places that rent your place out for the weekend or the month or whatever it is, and if you don't stipulate to your tenants to respect your neighbors and keep quiet, you are just behaving in an absolutely reprehensible way. And you're just causing a lot of upset and discontent among your neighbors. It's really selfish behavior. I'm not, anxious to go regulating things. It's not like, it's not in my nature. I like to live and let live. People can make a few extra bucks renting their place out, fine. But the way it is going and the way that Airbnb and its ilk are being practiced in the town of Woodstock, it's headed toward regulation, and very severe regulation. Because the one thing that Woodstock is not, we are not a pelting farm. And people are just renting their places out without any regard to their neighbors, just to make this dollar. There are people, I've talked to realtors, there are people in this town who are otherwise not, are not economically sufficient enough to buy property in this town. They have realtors, not all of them, because most of our realtors are just very fine people, but some realtors persuading them that, go ahead and buy this property because you can rent out on Airbnb and make this money and it'll all work for you, et cetera, et cetera. It's a terrible, terrible phenomenon. And I really hope people who buy property in this town just know that we're a community. We're not a pelting farm, we're not a big hotel. And again, I don't want to regulate. It's just not in my blood and bones if I go regulating things. Again, if people just want to quietly make a little dollar here and there and help themselves, fine. But you got to be quiet. You can't go disturbing neighbors, or it will be regulated. It's becoming really more and more a bad situation in the town of Woodstock. So,
Just a question in that regard. How do they get past a lot of the building code with Airbnb?
Technically, once you get your C of O, you have a house that passes New York State building code. You don't get a C of O if it doesn't. So, and again, I'm not a lawyer, so I
fire
don't know.
inspections and stuff like that
Well,
for it? That's,
you're
you know what I'm
getting
saying, the
there is-
different things based on the use of that building, so.
But I mean, when you rent your house for a year, you would think the same rules would apply.
Right.
And what's the difference between a year, 1 night, 1 week?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So distinctions have to be made.
Right.
And I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to pretend to craft distinctions here at the table.
Right.
But they can be crafted. I know, for instance, there's one community I'm told, this is anecdotal, I don't have the facts on this, but I am told that there's a community that passed legislation that prohibits anyone from renting their property for less than 3 months. So this is perhaps one valid way, if necessary. And I hope it's not. I really do. I hope it's not necessary.
This is exploding all across the country.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah,
blowing up.
and again, I wouldn't care, it would just be.
But you do lose sense of community though when you have people coming in
Yeah, yeah.
and nobody cares about anything.
Yes, exactly.
Only what they want for
Yes,
that week.
yes, they, you know, they run down to the liquor store and have themselves a ball, yes ma'am.
When this was brought up at the last meeting, there seemed to be an emphasis by some of the people that were complaining that this was going on, especially over on Ohio Mountain. Is there any specific, is this widespread throughout the town evenly, or is this more confined to a specific area like?
Well, I've had reports from the area that you just identified, from Shady and from Willow. So that's my base.
Yeah, I told you just go on Air Hub and find out where the houses are.
Well, I tell you, I just wrote a letter yesterday because I know one of these properties and I got the address and talked to the assessor and these two people who don't live in town on my property, and I wrote them a letter. We'll see how effective it is. Yeah, but-
Well, I thought last week, last meeting, I thought Kathy was talking with Ellen to investigate some things about it.
And Ellen was supposed to, she was gonna get an update from Ellen.
Yeah, because I know
Ask for that.
because there is a hotel definition that says if you have a transient and you have a common entrance, that's a hotel, and, you know, so I thought Kathy was gonna go talk with Ellen about
Right, yeah,
some
she was
stuff.
supposed to.
Yeah,
We
but,
do not, on our books right now, have anything to hang our hat on.
yeah,
And
okay.
that's in my discussion with the town attorney.
Oh,
We do
okay.
not, in our books, have something that we would hang, firmly hang our
Yeah,
hat
okay, but do we have, if there is a noise issue, could somebody call the police and have the police address it?
on. Well, this is something, did you get my email?
Yes, I got your email.
Can you help me with that?
I'll help you with that,
Okay.
but there's an interesting
Yes.
sidelight to that. That's, you can download an app onto your smartphone
Yes,
and turn it into a decibel meter.
right.
So, I
But
mean,
the trick is, here's the trick, it has to hold up in a court of law.
yeah, but this you could use before you call the police.
Yes, I see, right, yes.
I mean, everyone could be recording the decibels in
Yes.
town, because all you do is load down this app.
You know what, send me that app information, because I'll put it on our website.
Yeah, I'll do it. I don't know, my son does.
But the other thing is, you know, we gotta get ourselves, because we have these ancient
Yeah,
decibel readers.
right, you need a good meter if you're gonna go to court,
Exactly,
but for someone who's gonna make a complaint,
right.
checking out the,
Checking it out first.
what's on the
then make a
iPhone and
complaint.
say,
Then the
listen,
police
this
can
is way over.
show up with their
Right,
big fancy thing and then go to the door and tell those people, you're gonna
Right.
stop this and you're going, you know,
Right.
good.
Doesn't that have to be measured at the property line? I
The
think-
property
The
line.
property line, usually about 57 dB.
Right, yeah.
but everyone's got an
That's what they
iPhone,
do
I
in
mean, that's
Sorry.
good.
Yeah,
A good decibel meter can be had for only about $150.
yeah, you don't, no, you can get them as low as $30, but you don't want a $30 line.
No, but the ones I'm talking about are compliant, they're like official. They're digital meters, you press them for whether you need the A, B, or C scale.
Right.
Usually A, all of your laws are written in A.
Mhm.
And, you know, in most of the zoning in Woodstock, that's 53 dB at the property line at nighttime.
Mhm.
And that's a pretty quiet standard
Mhm.
if it's met.
Right.
I
If it doesn't
understand.
record, you need a witness to court? If the decibel meter doesn't record,
Uh-huh.
you need a witness maybe in the court to say, I saw.
That's why we always have 2 officers on duty.
No,
I've been told that we have, well, I know that we have had a couple of deep decibel meters, but there's always been in the courts a problem about the details of their use and their
Yes. The
violation.
ones that we have need almost constant recalibration. And unless they, the police can demonstrate to the judges that it's properly recalibrated, they're old clunkers, is what I'm telling
Well,
you.
let's
They
get
need
rid
to
of
be
them.
replaced, yes.
Let's get
We
rid
have to get better stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we're on this issue, then it seems to be we're crying for meters that will
Yeah.
stand up in
So
court.
I've asked Ken, and he's agreed to help me
Yeah, well,
research it.
technology is very changes.
Next
so
week's
fast.
meeting, if you want, we'll bring ours and we'll show it to you. It's a modern meter,
Uh-huh.
digital meter.
Well, we'll let you teach our PD how to use it.
They're so simple, they only have 4 buttons on them, and it just
Exactly.
sits there and it reads off on the display,
This is
second by second.
Wow.
complete
I'll bring it
remote
next
meter.
week.
Okay, terrific. Well, thank you. So we already adjourned, and I guess we'll go. Thanks, everybody. Good to see you. Thanks, Tom.
Did you
want me to do one?
Meeting adjourned.
How would that-